Alex, I wanted to ask you a bit about pastoral care at the school, because again, it's something that Talbot Heath is very well known for in terms of being very nurturing and, you know, looking after the girls' well-being and pastoral care. What sort of, I mean, how is that taught at the school?
Well, we see it as, we care about the whole student. Obviously, academically, we want them to do really well. Learning about string theory and the philosophers is great, but it's only going to get you so far in life if you're not willing to care for yourself and know what the warning signs are about your own mental and physical health. And so we take it quite seriously. Through lessons, we deliver PSHCE to Key Stage 3. It's delivered at Key Stage 4 through external speakers coming in. And there's always a point where a teacher is going to be willing to talk to students about coping mechanisms, strategies, that kind of thing. You also have the tutors who do a great job. They know the girls so well. They're the first port of call. The deputy head, whose door is always open, and she has sofas covered in teddies just for you to cuddle, staff and students, if you've had a bad day. It's great. And so, you know, there is always, yes, the formal lessons, but everything we do is kind of underpinned by this awareness that, you know, being a teenager is hard and growing up is hard, and we're on their team. And we're willing to kind of support them through the difficult stuff that they're going to be facing.
Well, that's great to hear. No, it really is. And Ellie, I also wanted to ask you about remote education. Again, I've heard very good things about Talbot Heath in terms of how it managed during lockdown in sort of actually covering the whole curriculum and the timetable.
Yes, our girls are incredibly lucky. So at the end of March, Mrs. Holloway made the decision to move to remote learning, and we were all given training before the fact. So we were introduced to new apps. Every student has an iPad, which means we know exactly what technological capabilities every student has, and every staff has the same. So we know which apps they can access. We used a whole host of apps. I set up my own YouTube channel, something I'd never done before.
So did I. It was amazing.
Know.
Sensations.
I had 21 subscribers by the end of lockdown. I was very proud of myself. But things like that. So, you know, you had a really interactive, dynamic lesson. So students kept to their same timetable. So they would wake up, and at 9 a.m. they'd have maths, followed by 10 p.m. they'd have 10 p.m. didn't do that long a day. 10 a.m. they did physics, and so on and so forth. And every lesson their teacher was available. So they were constantly in contact with us. They were able to Zoom us to have face-to-face chats. We were on an app called Google Classroom. So really brilliant support. I checked in with my tutor group all the time. It was like they were in school. They had every possibility opened up to them.
And how did the girls respond to it? I mean, what sort of feedback have you had about what they thought of it?
You know, they actually responded incredibly well. I thought, teenagers at home, none of them seemed to be in their pyjamas. They all seemed to be up. No, they were brilliant. They were really interacted well. And even now, when you've got students who are quarantining, we're sending out that remote working, and they're still in contact. You know, oh, miss, could you possibly explain this? And, oh, I'm not 100% sure on question 3 on that one. Could you go through it again? And, you know, they then contribute to each other. So it wasn't just us answering. I was able to kind of see an overview, but actually it was students saying, well, I did this. Here, have a photo of this. And, oh, I've sent you a photo over on AirDrop, and you can have a look on that. And it's brilliant.
And the skills they pick up from that as well, not just in the educational world, but in order to help them kind of manage workloads and get used to time management when you don't have the structure of the bells going off and things like that. I think that's invaluable too for the exams and the revision.
I think their initiative and their independence has just increased tenfold. They've been absolutely brilliant. I'm really seeing that as they've come back, actually. Yeah. They are mature, brilliant students who have lost no time in their education. They have continued exactly on time, whilst being able to gain skills as opposed to lose them.
That's fantastic to hear that. And also, I mean, just finally, I wanted to ask you, I mean, so will you incorporate some of that online learning into the curriculum?
Absolutely.
Yeah. My Google Classroom is roaring.
Yes, absolutely. Every lesson. I Zoomed a student today, in fact, at home, so that the class could revise, and I could Zoom her because she was at home to say, how are you getting on? Can I go through anything with you? So it seems silly to lose those skills that we've all gained. Yeah, so absolutely incorporate as much as we possibly can.
Andrew, I understand you've taught at Talbot Heath for a number of years. I just wondered if you could tell me what you think the best things about the school are and what it does really well.
The girls are always willing to try and extend their imaginations and things. Teaching here is about creating a kind of climate of confidence so that the girls are prepared to be ambitious and adventurous in everything they do, that they're willing to try out new ideas, they're willing to express their imaginations, their creativity and everything that goes with that. so that as Leah says towards the end of that play, nothing will come of nothing, and we want something to come of the girls, and the best way towards that is to get them to take chances, to be adventurous, ambitious, and not to see any limits. And that, I hope, is one thing that we do well here, and that's what we try to do as a staff, but certainly and particularly in the English department.
Well, I was just going to add to what Andrew said, that I think something which is so lovely about the girls here is they're all comfortable in their own skin. So I think that however good they feel at something, or however much they struggle with something, within all our subjects, something that we all focus on is them all finding a niche and something that they can all excel at. So within my department, within classics, we have 3 different subjects which we teach: Latin, Greek, classical civilization. And there really is something for everyone, whatever your strengths or weaknesses, within any of those subjects. Definitely, yeah.
It's about encouragement. That's how you do it. You let them speak, you give them a chance to express their views, you never close their views down.
Yeah.
And if we establish that from the early years, which we do, then as they get older, they become more familiar with that pattern of doing things, and they take more chances.
And it's just what they do, they're just so used to it.
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to think so anyway.
They're not fearful about taking chances and going the extra mile, because they know it will be met with positivity and encouragement. They won't be cast down, and I think that's apparent in all of them.
I wondered if I can ask all 3 of you, what do you think the benefits of being at an all-girls school are?
Well, certainly for the girls is the focus, from my part, the fact that they don't have anything else to worry about, but just you can get engrossed in all the lessons. And certainly in languages, I've never heard so much noise coming out of my classroom in a good way, in terms of no inhibitions.
So do you think girls are sort of feel happier to volunteer for things and put their hand up without feeling sort of embarrassed?
Singing, for example, would never happen when there were boys and girls.
From a maths point of view, I think there's a slight tendency to, if you're good at maths, that you can be a bit swotty, whereas actually in our school it's all girls, they all want to do really well, and they actually all love maths, and they all really strive to do their best in maths, and I don't think that would happen in co-ed schools.
And in terms of the benefits of being at an all-girls school, I mean, do the girls talk about that? Do they say they prefer it? I mean, or do they have any views on it?
They are very open about it, and I think for them, the girls that I've taught in PE and sport, they just love that. There's no barrier in the that there perhaps would be in a mixed school. Certainly in terms of sport, that they have that. That there is no barrier to them and what sports they can and can't do. So there is no distraction, and they talk about that a lot, and they love that opportunity that we give them.
They like the fact that there's no pressure. That's what they call it when we talk about it.
I've also been told, and I've actually seen it for myself, that Talbot Heath is incredibly good at developing girls' self-confidence and also getting them to think big, which I know is one of the logos of the school. I mean, is that something that you see as a really crucial part of the school?
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
They certainly have a voice.
Yeah.
They can put forward any ideas they have, and we're very lucky that Mrs. Holloway is very open and will always encourage.
Yeah, there's definitely that open-mindedness to want to try different sports and break the stereotype as well as to what is expected in terms of sports and what they can be good at and have a go at, and we certainly take that on board in our PE and sport curriculum.
But do you have to be sporty to come here? I mean, some parents might wonder if if their child isn't so sporty. No. Is there something for everybody?
There is something for everybody, and we've really worked hard on the curriculum with the PE lessons that we have. There is something for everyone. If you look at the field this afternoon, we were doing with lower fives, that's year 10, we were doing golf games, we had some fitness going on, and we had some yoga and Pilates, and they rotate around those options. So it really is not just depth, but we focus on breadth, so there is something for everybody. It's really about that lifelong learning as well, which we want girls to go from here into their adult life having that love for just keeping healthy, and that well-being is just as important to us.
Whether it is sport or whether it's they're doing the school play, or they're there's so many from a maths point of view, we do something called the Maths Challenge. Now we have incredible success with that, and that's not that's not extracurricular particularly, but we've had some fantastic results with that. So I think it's kind of it's that love of learning that our girls have, and I think that's where the think big ties in really lovely, because things that they think they're not so good at, we just try and make them believe that they can do it, and they really do, don't they? They really do believe that. So even those ones that aren't so good, say at maths, then, you know, come on, I believe in you, and then they believe in them, and then we've got success. It's fantastic.
I was also going to ask you quite a difficult question in terms of, I mean, what do the three of you think is the best thing about a Talbot Heath education?
They look after the girls. I think they understand the girls, and it's that ability that staff have to be able to see what it is that that girl has to offer. And I'm speaking not just as a member of staff, but as a parent whose daughter was very average, but the staff brought out the very, very best in her. Really did.
Would you two agree with that? That bringing out the best in
100%.
girls?
I mean, I think because there's so much to offer, we can look at every individual bit of what they bring, and because we're a smaller school, because we've got smaller classes, you can give individual attention, which you couldn't give necessarily in bigger settings. So they have all of those opportunities, and we can go, well, okay, we've seen that you've got potential here, so we'll nurture that a little bit more. We'll see if we can push that a little bit further. And I think all of us see that, you know, every member of staff sees that. It's not just in the arts, it's everywhere. I think, as Mr. Jewell was saying, you know, it's just about finding those things that the children love and being able to bring those things out in what they're doing.
Yes.
And that, I think that's really important.
It does come across that the teachers know the pupils really, really well, and so you can nurture whatever it is that you're wanting to bring out.
It's a safe environment so that girls feel they have freedom and feel confident enough to ask questions, to have inquiring minds and to be confident. And it's a very supportive environment as well. The girls are very supportive of each other within lessons. So in our practical subjects, they support, there's no sniggering at people having a go or people doing solos or things like that. They're really supportive of each other, and that creates a lovely nurturing learning environment.
Deborah, I wanted to ask you, we're sitting in the STEAM Hub, so I mean, presumably, that must, the amazing new STEAM Hub, presumably that's enthused girls in terms of science and maths.
I mean, it's actually incredible. I mean, I don't know about you, but we're all so proud. We're all so proud of this facility. But this isn't just about the STEAM. You know, because it is STEAM. You've got fantastic drama studio, amazing science opportunities, virtual learning opportunities. There's kind of anything we can. Some of our cross-curricular days that they've performed here, where we're taking technology across any subject and can just create the most amazing things. So I think it really has enthused. I mean, I think we're all really proud of it, and it does give us a huge edge, I think, as a school.
And I was also going to ask you, Anne, about the sixth form. I'm always very impressed by the variety of things that they go off to do. I mean, can you give a sort of 2 or 3 examples of things that they might go and do?
It can go from looking after the forest to marine biology or being a doctor in Lyon in France, So, yes, we have a huge variety. A lot of our pupils go off to, top universities. They achieve their first choices, and then they go on to very exciting things. Yes.
And how would you describe the school's ethos to people who perhaps don't know the school so well?
Stimulating, encouraging, and about education in the true sense. Educare, the Latin verb, it means to lead out.
To lead out. So really, to get the best out of every single pupil, whatever their strengths or weaknesses, you literally can find something that everyone is going to excel at. And I think certainly by the time they get to the end of GCSEs, the end of sixth form, all of them shine in some area.
And I know that Talbot Heath is very well known for its excellent academic results. I mean, how do you achieve such great results?
Fantastic teachers, obviously.
But more or less by encouraging them to express themselves. What the kind of things we've talked about already underpin everything. Obviously, we know our texts and our stuff, in inverted commas, as teachers. But it's about encouraging the girls to think for themselves. I like to do these days, always on Animal Farm and 1984 and Orwell in 1984 writes that orthodoxy is unconsciousness, and I want my girls to be conscious. I want them to think for themselves, to challenge everything, to develop ideas, and if they feel that empowered by that, then that usually leads them to be able to do well in the system, the exam system. That's certainly proven to be the case.